So I want to kind of talk about why I'm doing this group. Really, like, I have been a teacher for a long time in secondary, and I was a student also when I was in school who was kind of bored a lot, and I read a lot because I was bored, and there was really no other alternative. I missed school pretty frequently. I got mono when I was whatever, so I missed a lot of school that year, and I still got straight A's. And, I did well because that's kind of how I got, like, my place in my family was, like, the straight A kid. But I was often bored and just didn't feel, like, fulfilled, I guess. And then I went to college, and it was like, yay, there's smart people just for smart's sake, like, we didn't necessarily, like, I did an English major, so it wasn't, concrete knowledge, if you will. It was more the discussion and the arguing and the debating and the relating to life. And so to me, I felt like that was really nice because I could have those conversations. But it's still, like, it's not for everybody. Like, that kind of setting is not for everybody. And I always said that since I started teaching. I've said that, education in college, like, formally like that, is not for every student. And then the more and more I've taught over the years, the more I've realized that there are a lot of really, really bright, capable, motivated, go-getter students who really hate school. Really, really hate it. Like, want to drop out or do drop out. And so I realized that these aren't always high IQ kids, but a lot of times they are. And a lot of times those same kids are ADHD or ADD, and they're so under or unstimulated in the regular classroom setting because everything has to be very in the box. And that's for, people's safety, and that's for lack of space and lack of resources and all that. We know all the issues with school, but forcing kids all into the same box to learn the same information by the same guru teacher, who isn't really a guru most of the time, isn't really good enough anymore. Besides the fact that most teachers didn't grow up in the reality in which we live now, because our reality changes so frequently and so quickly. It's really important that we get a grip on how kids' reality looks nowadays. It doesn't look like ours did. So, So I think that what I'm suggesting is that people either supplement their kids' education with more natural, holistic learning activities and times in their lives. Like, my kids and I do stuff all the time. This is not new to us, this idea of road schooling. I used to think about, like, going full-time RVing, and I'm not sure I'm there yet. I might change my mind once we start doing this, but there's learning to be had in everything you do. And it doesn't have to be strict, like, sit down and what did we learn today? It could just be conversations and using vocabulary. Like, literacy development is all in how a parent speaks to their child. Really, if you use big vocabulary, kids are going to have big vocabulary. Just is kind of that simple. I mean, obviously, I'll give you a lot more tips and tricks on that as we go, because there's a lot to literacy. But it kind of is, it stems from home. Almost all of it. So I'm going to be showing a lot of, like, how I talk with my children, how I interact with them. Now, my kids aren't little tiny ones anymore, but I can certainly show that too at times when I do get an interaction with a younger child. But this started from when they were tiny. Just talking to them the way that you'll see on the videos that we post over time. But like, even when my oldest was just 6 months old, he'd sit in the Walmart cart or the whatever cart, and I would talk through how I chose which cereal or which fruit or whatever, and just talk to him about what I was doing. And sure enough, he was a great talker, you know. And so there are all these little tips and tricks that I'll give you and show you, and you know, take what you will, take what works for you. Not everything's going to work for every kid, and this is another problem with education is every kid's learning ability and style is different. So you know, most teachers do a pretty good job with that, but you know, if you've got 30 different kids and they all learn differently, that's really hard to do. So you know, it doesn't fall all on the teacher, that's for sure. So the holistic, I call it holistic learning. You'll hear me say road schooling. It's kind of like unschooling, but it's a little bit more. I think the unschooling requires a little bit more from parents than the philosophy calls for. For some kids can unschool brilliantly. You know, the Einsteins of the world can unschool brilliantly, but I think most kids are not there. But so it's going to be, you know, a little bit more direction. So you'll see as time goes by. But really, that's why I'm doing it. And my kids go to a little private school now, and I while I really like it, it's still not everything I would like it to be, and what I would like for my kids to have in their lives, education-wise. So we're going to do more vacations, more trips, more digging in the sand, in the dirt, and learning, you know, as best we can. So be looking for that. It should be fun adventures, and we're going to go to really awesome places, and we always have. Kids have been in 19 states already, and we haven't even started this officially. So yeah, they really enjoy the adventure. So plus that makes me happier, because so do I. But yeah, and in a lot of these activities you can just do at your local park. So you know, if you can't afford or don't get out to travel as much as you'd like to, or even if you don't like to, most of these activities that you'll see are things that you can do on your own. And they're almost all going to be child driven, which is even better. It's not hours and hours and hours of planning a day. So it's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to go now, but you guys have a great day, and I hope you enjoy our group.